Rated for us by Dale Siner, who is president of Executive Systems, Inc. He'll be interviewed once again by our contributing editor, Kevin Strelo.
Thanks, Victoria. If you're like me, you've got so many files on your hard disk that it's hard to keep them organized. But you can try with subdirectories, sliding all the files that are related together into the same subdirectory. But then you've got the problem of managing your subdirectories. Dale, I guess XTree is a way to visually organize and work with your subdirectories.
Right. XTree is a graphic file and directory organizer. It visually shows you a picture of your directories and subdirectories in tree structure. It's called tree structure because it starts at the root and has branches going out.
So it's like accounting is under the root and 1985 is inside of accounting.
Right.
You just keep going into smaller and smaller subdivisions.
Exactly.
Okay.
Within each of these subdirectories, you can have files. Just like in a filing cabinet, you can have several files in one filing drawer and have several filing drawers. On a PC, you can have several subdirectories and files within each of those subdirectories.
Okay, now I assume you can also do the kind of operations on these files that DOS lets you do using XTree.
Sure.
Why don't you show me some?
Okay. This is the directory window, as I said, and this is the file window. When we're in the directory window, we have directory commands. We can make a directory, delete a directory. We can even rename a directory.
Okay.
Okay. Sure. Let's say we want to make a new directory under accounting for 1988.
Okay.
We'll be a little bit ahead of our time. So we just say M for make new directory and type 1988.
Okay, so there's only one keystroke involved.
Right.
Which is, in DOS you can use 5 if you want to, MKDIR.
Right. But the trick is here, it also visually shows you what you've got there.
Okay.
So we can go down to that subdirectory and we see there's no files in there yet.
Okay.
Okay.
What about file commands? Can you work with files the way you do under DOS?
Pressing return, we go into the file window, and here we have file commands. We can copy a file, delete a file, rename, move a file. We can do them individually by pointing at the file, or we can do a group of files together.
Okay, so instead of having to type copy invent.dat, you can just point at it?
You can just point at it, hit C for copy, and then it'll ask us what name we want to copy it, and then what directory we want to copy to.
Okay, that's easy enough. But you said you can do groups of files?
Right. This is the real power of XTree. We have what we call tagging. By pressing T, we can tag several files. The little diamond there indicates a file is tagged.
Okay.
It's waiting for a future operation.
Okay, and you've kind of grouped them together now.
Right. So I could go down and I could tag this one too. So now I've got 4 files tagged there, and I could copy them all, delete them, rename them, all as a group in one operation.
Okay, so one thing that DOS doesn't let you do, and I've always thought you should be able to, is to work with more than what's inside one subdirectory. Can you do that in XTree?
Sure. We have a command called the show all command. With this command, it shows you all the files on the whole disk. These are all the files in all subdirectories.
Okay, now this looks a little confusing. We've got down here, I don't know if you can read it at home, but we've got invoice.dat, invoice.dat. They're all the same file. What's going on?
Well, if we go down there, if you'll notice on the top line where it says path, that tells you the subdirectory that that particular file is in.
Okay.
Each of these files is in different subdirectories.
Okay, so we've got everything in alphabetical order. That's interesting. That's something DOS doesn't do for you.
Right. They automatically come up in alphabetical order, but the user has a choice. We can sort this display by name, which they're currently done, by extension, by date and time, and by size. Let's do it by date. Now they're sorted by date.
But you can't even see the date up on the screen. What's going on?
Well, we have 3 different display formats. This is the most compact with 3 columns of file
if you want to just look at a lot of files.
If you want to look at a lot of files. We can toggle to a 2-column display, and here we have the file names plus the sizes. And once more, here we only have 1 column, and here we have the dates and times as well as the sizes.
But you can get rid of all that clutter if you want and just go back to looking at all
And just go back to the names.
Okay. So that's interesting. You can look at the size, you can see the time. What about, can you find files easily using this? One thing I hate about DOS is it only gives you 8 characters to name files, and 6 weeks from now, I just don't have any idea what that name means.
XTree provides a useful way of finding files. Here we have, again, the show all the files in all directories. I can set a file spec. Let's say we wanted to look for a file, and all we could remember was it started with the letter L. So we can type in L *** for the file spec, and here's all the files on the disk that start with the letter L. And I can point to any file, and again, see the subdirectory that it's in by the top line.
Okay, now what about, you aren't sure if letter 1 is the letter you want or letter 2. What do you start up your word processor and show it that way?
Well, XTree has a view function. You can point to any file, press V, and XTree will display the contents of that file. And you can scroll up or down a page at a time. If that's not the file, just go on to the next file and view that file.
And just go through.
So you can find a file real quickly that way.
Dale, quickly, what else can XTree do for us?
Well, you can run files from XTree. You can go ahead and execute a program.
And again, you don't have to type it, you can just point at it?
No, just point to it, hit X for execute,
just like on the Macintosh. I'll be done.
Right.
Okay. And anything else?
We can print files, we can print the tree out, we can print the contents of files, and we can print a directory of all the tag files. So you get a directory listing on your hard disk.
Dale, listen, I want to thank you a lot for being on and showing us XTree, but before I let you go, you have to tell me how much it costs.
It's only $49.95.
And people can get it through the mail, or?
They can get it at the better computer and software dealers everywhere.
Okay, thanks a lot. Victoria?